Welcome into the Wiregrass High School Football Report, your weekly look at all things high school football in the Wiregrass. I am your host, Phillip Jordan, in-studio host and producer for Dothan Wolves Football on 96.9 The Legend. Welcome into another episode of the show. Glad you guys are here. We are going to recap and look back at all the first round playoff action in the Wiregrass this past Friday night. 10 Wiregrass teams will be moving on to the second round. We had 17 teams involved in playoffs in the area, so we're going to go over all of that and let you guys know what the matchups will be for the second round of the playoffs. Before we do all that, let you guys know you can find me in the podcast. You can find me on social media at PJordanSEC. You can listen to the podcast over on Apple Podcasts, so please follow, rate, and review. If you leave a review, I will read it on a future edition of the show. You can also check out the show over on my YouTube page, Phillip Jordan. That's all you got to look up. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for all the notifications, and please leave a comment on a Wiregrass High School Football Report video, and I will respond to that as well. You can also listen to the show over on 969thelegend.com, where you can also find the Jed Kennedy Coaches Show, brought to you by Property Champions. And, of course, you can always email me at sports.philipjordan@gmail.com. Now, let's jump into what happened on Friday in the first round of the playoffs. 16 teams in Alabama High School Athletic Association playoffs, and then one Abbeville Christian in the AHSAA playoffs. Well, we're going to start off in 7A, where Dothan defeated Foley 42-28. Of course, you could have heard of this game over on 96.9 The Legend. Dothan gets their 8th win of the year. Foley drops to 7-4. Foley was the number one team coming out of Region 1 in 7A. Dothan was in 4th place coming out of 7A Region 2. Big game for Raymond Blackman, 4 touchdowns. He also had an interception late in the game to help clinch the game. He had 254 yards total rushing. The team Wolves had 403 rushing altogether. This is the first playoff win by a Dothan City school in 25 years. That was when the Dothan Tigers defeated Crawford Montgomery 7-6. If you want to go back with Northview's history, their last playoff win was in 1994. Dothan did lead this game 21-14 at halftime after a 75-yard touchdown run by Blackman. Blackman also went for 65 yards to extend the lead 28-14 with about 6:02 left in the third quarter. But Foley would not give up. They came back and they tied it up at 28 with a couple of rushing touchdowns. Their running back, Colton Nero, had 151 yards and 2 touchdowns on the game. Really big back. It looks like a fullback style, but a lot of speed and a lot of power from that running back there at Foley. But Dothan went back up 35-28 with an 11-yard touchdown run by Blackman with 6:19 left in the fourth quarter. Then Dothan would extend the lead and put it away with a scoop and score to go up 42-28 with 4:19 left. And then, of course, the Blackman interception clinched the game. So now that's a big win. Just tremendous job done by Coach Kennedy this year. First year as the Dothan coach. Their first time in the 7A playoffs, because in the first year of Dothan Wolves in 2019, they were in 6A. They had not moved to 7A yet. So this is the second time in the playoffs for the Wolves, but getting that first playoff victory as the Dothan Wolves. Now, they will play at Auburn this Friday, a 7A Region 2 rival of theirs. They did lose to Auburn this year 42-14, but that was very early in the season. This Dothan Wolves team is much improved since that game happened. Auburn did beat Fairhope last week, 35-17. Now, continuing 7A, Enterprise, they were the 3 team coming out of Region 2. They defeated Baker 35-26 on the road. Baker they were the number 2 team coming out of Region 1 there out of Mobile. So this gives Enterprise also 8-3 on the year. Baker 4-7 on the year, which Baker was 4-2 in region play. All their wins came in region. Michael Johnson, big game for him. One of his 3 touchdowns with almost 2 minutes left in the game, a 15-yard run to put Enterprise up 35-26. They were up 28-26 at the time. Baker just would not go away in this game. Constantly, it felt like Enterprise got a 9-point advantage at some point in this game. So when they got 15-6, and so Baker would score a touchdown, get within 2, but they just could not get that stop to be able to take the lead. And Enterprise just would always answer whenever Baker would get within 2. Michael Johnson's other 2 touchdowns was a 53-yard touchdown reception and an 85 kickoff return to go up 28-20. So now for Central, For Enterprise, they will play Central this Friday. They lost to Central Phoenix City 27-7 early in the year. Now Central is coming off a 58-7 first round victory over Mary Montgomery. In that game for Central, quarterback Jalen Epps was 15-22, 158 yards and 3 touchdowns. Running back Zach Simmons carried the ball 17 times for 123 yards. Apologize for the gap there. Had to get a little drink of water. We're just powering this thing straight through on this episode of the show. All right, in 5A, Charles Henderson defeated Williamson 20-16 to go to 9-1 on the year. Charles Henderson jumped up 20-0 and had to hold on late for the victory. This was the first playoff win for Charles Henderson in 9 years since 2013. Parker Adams had a big day in this one. He was 19-28 for 192 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had 1 rushing touchdown. And how they built that 20-0 lead, Parker Adams first connected with Will Templin for the first score. And Adams added in a 5-yard run to put Charles Henderson up 13-0. And then he did find Jawan Boyd for a 23-yard touchdown. That put him at 20-0 about midway point there of the second quarter. Right before halftime, Williamson quarterback Jeremy Williams got a 51-yard touchdown pass to Ellis McGaskin to make it 20-8 after a 2-point conversion. They would get 20-16. They had a big sack by Charles Henderson from all of his linemen jumping over on defense lines. Amir Caffey, he had the sack to help clinch the game. Charles Henderson will now travel to Tallahassee in the second round, who's 7-4 on the year. They beat Selma 49-16 in the first round. Tallahassee finished third in Region 4 in 5A. These two have never met in the postseason. Overall, they have met 15 times in the regular season, where Charles Henderson holds a 9-6 advantage there. Their last meeting was in 2019, where Charles Henderson won 27-0. The rest of 5A, UMS Wright defeated Headland 56-13. UMS Wright keeping their undefeated season going. Headland ends the season at 6-5. Headland held a 13-7 lead midway through the second quarter after 2 Jackson Williams touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 1 through the air. The 1 on the ground was on the second play of the game, a 71-yard touchdown. UMS Wright would go on then to score 3 times before halftime, and then they would pull away in the second half. Head coach for UMS Wright, Terry Curtis, his 374th win of his career, which is an Alabama High School Athletic Association record. And their running back, Cole Blaylock, had 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. He is a South Alabama commit. Faith Academy defeated Eufaula 21-15. Eufaula season ends at 7-3. Faith Academy quarterback Jarrett Doughty hit a 29-yard touchdown pass to Ty Goodwill late in the fourth quarter to take the lead. Goodwill had 10 catches for 130 yards in the game. Eufaula quarterback Copeland Cotton was intercepted late when Eufaula was trying to move the ball. They had made it all the way to the Faith 30, but they were not able to get it in. So that's, like I said, they will end their year at 7-3. But a good year there for Eufaula under the first-year head coach Terrell Jernigan. And then Carroll, they fell 42-0 to Gulf Shores to end their season at 5-6. In 4A, Andalusia defeated Jackson 25-10 to get to 10 wins on the year, 10-1 overall. This game was tied up at 10 with 7:58 left in the third quarter. Jamarian Burnett had a 75-yard run to go up 17-10, and then quarterback Jake Laffer found Caden Denson for 44 yards to go up 25-10. They would go for 2, and they had a 15-point advantage there with 9:44 left in the game. Lathrop, the quarterback, was 10 of 22, 169 yards and 2 touchdowns. Burnett, the running back, had 156 yards and 1 touchdown. So now for Andalusia, they will travel to American Christian, who is 9-2 out of Tuscaloosa. American Christian beat Munford 16-13. The two have met just once all time. The 2019 third round of playoffs where Andalusia won 24-0. That's all. And Andalusia is the only team in the Wiregrass area that made it to the playoffs. Now in 3A, Pike County defeated Excel 42-14 to go to 7-3. Quarterback Amari Burrow had 3 touchdown passes in the game. He was 10 of 17 for 229 yards. Now they will play Alabama Christian And this game will be played at Faulkner University on Thursday night. Now, Alabama Christian, they were third place in Region 3, 8-3 on the year. This will be the sixth all-time meeting between the two, or they have met six times all time. With Pike County with a 42 advantage there. Pike County, they are 2-0 in the playoffs. The last time these two played was in 2019, where Pike County won 38-13 in that one. And then the postseason, last time they played in the postseason was 2005, first round. Pike County won 62-0 in that one. WS Neal defeated Opp 27-13 to end Opp season at 8-3. But Opp, some highlights. Terry Davis, running back, had 114 yards in the game. Gray Jennings, the quarterback, was 14-30 for 220 and one touchdown. This was interesting because WS Neal did go up 12-0. Then Opp went up 13-12, but then WS Neal was able to pull away and add two scores at the end to get the victory. Then Mobile Christian defeated Houston Academy 30-3. Houston Academy went undefeated, region champions in the regular season. This really was a tough draw for Houston Academy because when we look at Mobile Christian, they had 3 games, region games forfeited. You're looking at a team that was 4-7 overall, but really would have been like 8-3. Before all the forfeits. So you're looking at a team that beat the number one team out of their region in the year is one of those forfeited games. So you're looking at a team that really wasn't a 4. They were more like a 1. So that was a tough draw for Houston Academy in that one. Now jumping over into 2A, Ayrton defeated Chickasaw 61-22. Ayrton quarterback Andon Garris was 21-25, 317 yards and 4 touchdowns, and running back Jordan Smith had 197 yards and 4 touchdowns in the game. So now Ayrton will host Highland Home, who is 10-1, a battle of 10-1 teams. Should be a really, really fun game between these two. They did play each other earlier in the year, with Highland Home winning 34-33 off a 2-point conversion in the fourth quarter. Overall, this series is tied at 4 apiece, so it should be a lot of fun. For Highland Home, a player to check out, defensive end and wide receiver, Keldrick Falk. He is a Florida State commit, so keep an eye on that player going into this one. GW alone defeated St. Luke's 19-16. They're 8-3 in the year going into the second round. Quarterback Bryson Hughes had 152 yards and 1 touchdown. He had 7 tackles on defense as well. Passing ball, he was 13-23. He had a 40-yard touchdown pass to Dayton Henderson in the game. GW Long was up 13-0 early in this one and 19-10 at halftime. Tanner Johnson with an interception late on St. Luke's last possession to clinch the victory. Now, GW Long will travel to Reeltown, who's 9-1 on the year. They came in first in Region 3. Reeltown is 3-0 all-time versus GW Long. And Reeltown's coming off a 49-6 win over Thorsby. In the 3 meetings between GW Long and Reeltown, in 1997, Reeltown beat them 30-17. That was a regular season matchup. And the next 2 were third-round matchups in the playoffs. In 2000, Reeltown won 30-6, and in 2019, Reeltown won 41-22. Wicksburg defeated J.U. Blackshear 34-7 to go to 6-5 on year and go to the second round. Shout out offense coordinator Richard Tisdale. Congratulations on that victory. Of course, Coach Tisdale, longtime friend of the show. I know he's a listener. So just congratulations on Wicksburg for getting that win. Running back Jalen Murray had 258 yards on the game and 5 touchdowns. Like I said, they're going to the second round. They will host B.B. Comer, who's 9-2. They defeated Lynette 45-20 last week, and they are out of Region 4. They came in first place. This is the first ever meeting between these two schools. B.B. Comer, this is their 4th straight year going to the second round, and the first time Wicksburg has made it to the second round since 2017. Then, sadly, my alma mater, Cottonwood Bears, they lost to Clark County 27-7, and that puts the Bears at 5-6 on the year. But still, tremendous year for the Cottonwood Bears, showing that progress under Coach Harrison, getting to the playoffs for the first time since 2014. So it's going to be really exciting times heading into 2023 for Cottonwood. See if the program can take that next step. Now we jump into 1A. Undefeated Elba defeated Southern Choctaw 42-20. This was a 35-6 game in favor of Elba going in the third quarter. Alvin Henderson had 147 yards and 4 touchdowns in the game. Elba will host Sweetwater, who was 7-2. They defeated Verbena 48-8, and Sweetwater is out of Region 3, where they were in second place this season. 2 meetings overall between these two, because Elba was in 1A. They went to 2A. Now they're back to 1A. In 2014, these were both playoff matchups. In 2014, in the second round, Elba won 42-20. And then in 2015, in the first round, Elba won 46-14. Brantley defeated Choctaw County 39-3 to go to 9-2 on the year. Quarterback Jaden Parks was 11-17, 165, and 2 touchdowns. Now Brantley will play Linden, who's 9-1, who defeated Otagoville 54-8. Linden comes out of Region 3, and they finished second there. 7 all-time meetings between Linden and Brantley. Linden holds the lead 4-3. The last meeting was the 2020 semifinals in 1A, where Linden won 22-7. And then finally, in AHSAA, Abbeville Christian fell to the number 1 team, Patrician Academy, 55-13, to end their season at 4-7. So that is the recap of what all happened in the first round of the playoffs here in the Wiregrass for the Wiregrass teams. Anyways, now looking again at the schedule, then what's going to happen with future matchups in the playoffs with the Wiregrass teams. We have 10 teams in the Wiregrass still playing, all in the Alabama High School Athletic Association playoffs. We're going to start with 7A. Of course, Dothan 8-3 will be at 10-1 Auburn, and Enterprise will be at Central Phoenix City. Now, I'm going to tell you who everybody's going to play. This one's a little bit different. The winners of these games are going to play each other. That's basically it. And because, in 7A, 16 teams get in the playoffs, so it's not as many. So the winner of this game is going to the state semifinals. So it's basically this part of the bracket, and 7A is it's the 7A Region 2 playoffs, basically. They had to kind of do a qualifying tournament to get into it, basically, if you want to look at it in a weird, kind of funny kind of way. In 5A, Charles Henderson, like I said, they will travel to Tallahassee. The winner will play UMS Wright or Beauregard. 4A, Andalusia at American Christian. The winner of that game will play Anniston Booker T. Washington. 7-3 Pike County will be at 8-3 Alabama Christian. Like I said, this will be a Thursday night game at Faulkner. The winner of this game will play Mobile Christian or Trinity. 2A, just got mentioned, in B-Bay Comer at Wicksburg. The winner of that one will play the winner of GW Long in Reeltown. So we can have some 2A Region 2 local flair there if certain things go certain ways in that one. And then, of course, the Highland Home Ayrton game, winner will play the winner between Clark County and Vincent. And then finally, in 1A, Brantley at 9-2 will be at Linden 9-1. The winner will play Maplesville or Leroy. And then Sweetwater at Elba. The winner will play Milry or Lochapoka. So that's how that's going to look. And that is this edition of the Wiregrass High School Football Report. Didn't have a guest or a coach here on this episode of the show. We're going to try to do that next week as we're going into the third round. Fingers crossed we have all these teams can win, and we'll have 10 teams in the Wiregrass going into the next round of the playoffs. And I really feel like I'm about to lose my voice if it sounds like it hasn't been as strong as it normally is. It's kind of on the weak side here, recording this late on a Sunday night. Anyways, please follow me on social media at PJordanSEC. This podcast is on Apple Podcasts, so please follow, rate, and review. Leave a review. I will read it on a future edition of the show. You can also check out the show over on my YouTube channel, Phillip Jordan. Just hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for all notifications, and please leave a comment on a Wiregrass High School Football Report video, and I'll read that on a future edition as well. You can also check the show out over on 969thelegend.com or 969 The Legend, the app. Look for the podcast. You can find it here, just like all the Dothan Wolf stuff with the Jed Kennedy Coaches Show. And you can always email me at sports.philipjordan@gmail.com. Hope everybody has a great week. Good luck to all the Wiregrass teams playing in the postseason in the second round this Friday. I'll talk to you guys next week. And you've been listening to the Wiregrass High School Football Report.